I'm Ava Reed, 32, founder of a small design studio called Northlight. 3 knocks, hard, mean. I opened the door. My father, Gerald, dripping rain. Behind him, my mother, Marcia, clutching a box labeled Master Bedroom. And my brother, Cole, smirking like a thief. You're alone, Ava. No husband, no kids. We're taking the house. My chest went hollow. I tasted metal. Childhood echoes. Their laughter when I begged for help. The night they locked me out in a storm. Funny how trauma remembers your address, right? I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just smiled, reached for my phone, and thought, not again, not this time. Be honest. If your own family showed up to repossess your life, what would you do? Tell me in the comments. And if this hit a nerve, subscribe and stay. The next part, they never saw it coming. I grew up in the kind of suburb where Saturday lawns were cut in parallel lines and smiles were taught like manners. From the outside, my family looked like they'd been printed out of a brochure. Holiday photos, matching pajamas, my dad Gerald's handshake that squeezed just a bit too long, my mom Marcia's careful hair and careful words. Inside, though, it was a scoreboard, and I was born on the wrong team. My brother Cole, the golden one, collected praise like trophies. I collected quiet. When I told them I wanted to study web design, everything in the room froze except their mouths. Gerald set down his fork like a judge setting down a gavel. Web design isn't a real career, Ava. Marcia added a sugar-sweet laugh. Honey, people like you end up freelancing forever. Cole didn't even look up from his phone. Hope Target needs a website. That sentence, people like you, carved itself into my ribs. If you've ever heard your own family tell you the ceiling is your fault, you know that particular burn. I worked anyway. I stocked shelves, wiped down diner counters at 2 a.m., taught myself CSS and JavaScript on a couch with springs that bit my back. When I graduated, there was no clapping section, just me under a fluorescent hallway light, holding a plastic sleeve with my diploma, pretending the light was applause. I mailed a photo of my first desk, a thrift store lamp, chipped mug, a mouse that double-clicked when it wanted to. I wrote, I got the job. No response. Months later, I found the card shoved under a pile of Costco coupons at my parents' place. But you know what? Silence says plenty. Then life yanked the rug. The agency I'd fought to join collapsed overnight. Doors locked, phones dead, last paycheck bouncing like a bad joke. If you've ever had your bank app turn from green to warning red, you know that stomach drop. I remember counting cash with my hands shaking and telling myself, just one more week, Ava. My roommate left. Rent came due. The walls started echoing. Hunger gets loud when it's the only thing in the room. I made the call I swore I'd never make. Dad, I lost my job. I need help. Just a loan to cover rent. I'll pay it back. Gerald sighed like I'd asked him to donate a kidney. Actions have consequences. Marcia slid on the line, voice sharp and tidy. We can't help. We're paying for Cole's MBA. Click. That click might as well have been a lock. I still drove over because hope is stubborn. I stood on their porch in a storm, yes, a literal storm, soaked to the skin, holding a bag with 3 shirts and a dying phone. The door opened a sliver. Gerald, just enough porch light to see the refusal in his eyes. You made your choices. Live with them. The door closed. Let me say this for the people in the back. Your blood can be your first betrayal. My mother's silhouette lingered 1 second and then vanished. If that image makes you angry, good. Hold that anger. I slept in my car behind a Walmart, wrapped in an old blanket that smelled like last winter. I showered at a gym on a guest pass and dried my hair under a hand dryer because warm air felt like mercy. I was too embarrassed to tell anyone. Shame is heavy. It keeps you from raising your hand. Rejection emails stacked up. I sat in Starbucks nursing a tall drip, pretending I needed the Wi-Fi when I really needed the chair. Here's where I want you to pause. If this were your life, if your family shut the door while the rain hammered your shoulders, what would you do? Comment it. Be honest. And if you've ever been there, hit like so others know they're not alone. One afternoon, a voice said my name, gentle like it remembered me from before all this. Ava? It was Carla, a friend from high school. She looked at me, really looked, and didn't ask me to put on a brave face. "Come with me," she said. That sentence felt like a rescue boat cutting through black water. But I'll save that turn for the next part, because before we climb out, I need you to understand the hole I was climbing from. It wasn't just unemployment. It was the echo of people like you. The storm-soaked porch, the slam of a door that told me love came with fine print. That's the origin of the wound. That's why what came later mattered. If this hurt to hear, I get it. It hurt to live. Stay with me. The next minute changed everything. Carla didn't interrogate me. She didn't demand a TED Talk about my mistakes. She just handed me a towel, tossed me a spare key, and said, "Guest room's yours until you're steady." I slept like a person who'd forgotten what soft felt like. Morning smelled like coffee and a safe kitchen. She called her boyfriend David, who ran a small design studio. "Look at her portfolio," she said. He did, without the condescending squint. "You've got an eye for detail. Start Monday." At the studio, I was the last to leave, and the first to volunteer for the mess no one wanted. The buggy landing page, the client who couldn't pick a shade of blue. I felt my lungs remembering how to breathe. 2 weeks in, David said, "You're good, Ava. Let's bump your pay." I excused myself to the bathroom and cried the kind that sneaks out of you. Relief, grief, adrenaline, all shaking hands. Then the phone rang. "Is this Ava Reed?" "I'm Margaret, your grandmother's neighbor." My stomach nodded. "It's Delilah. She's in the hospital. It's serious." Delilah, my grandmother who watered me when the world didn't. Carla drove me 3 hours without asking if I needed to go. She just grabbed the keys. Hospital rooms always smell like hope arguing with chemicals. Delilah was small under white sheets, her hands still warm. "You came," she whispered. "Always," I said. For 3 days, we traded breaths and stories. On the 4th, she handed me an envelope. Thick, worn, careful. "Keys, papers," she said. "The cottage is yours." "I can't," I started. She touched my cheek with the kind of love that doesn't ask for receipts. "I built that house so the women in this family would always have a door that opens." That night, she slipped away while I held her hand. When love leaves like that, it doesn't feel like abandonment. It feels like a benediction that hurts. At the reading of the will, Gerald and Marcia sat stiff across from me. Cole scrolled his phone, bored until he wasn't. "To my granddaughter, Ava, I leave the cottage and my savings." Silence. Heavy, thick, honest. Gerald stood up so fast his chair scraped. "Unacceptable." Marcia's voice broke its pretty. She manipulated her, my own daughter. I said what had been wedged in my throat for years. "You never visited her, I did." Cole muttered, "You don't deserve it." I slid the keys into my pocket and left, because sometimes the only winning move is leaving. The cottage looked like grief, and promise had a baby. Peeling paint, garden wild with green grief, windows filmed with time. I unlocked the door, the floorboards sang old songs. "I'm home," I said to no one and Delilah at the same time. That house held me. I patched leaks, learned the language of pipes, painted walls a soft, forgiving cream. David let me work remote 2 days a week. Nights I freelanced for small businesses that couldn't afford big agencies. I designed a brand for a bakery that paid me in cash and raspberry tarts. I built a website for a woman-owned auto shop that tuned my car for free. Community makes a different kind of currency. I registered my studio, Northlight, because Delilah used to say, "Find your Northlight, the place where truth looks the best." Clients came by word of mouth, a lakeside motel, a farmer's market, a bookstore. That's how I met Ryan, the bookstore owner who smelled faintly of paper and rain. He asked for a rebrand and left with a logo, a website, and too many dinners to call coincidence. He didn't try to fix me. He listened. There's a difference. If you're still watching, hear this. The bridge from rock bottom to solid ground is built one small plank at a time. One person who believes you, one invoice paid, one leaky faucet you fix yourself. Drop a comment with the plank you're on. And share this if you know someone sleeping in their car who needs to hear a future is still a thing. Years slid into something steady. Northlight hired 2 part-timers. I turned the garage into a studio with plants that minded their business and a big table where ideas could sprawl. On weekends, Ryan and I ate pasta under the oak tree Delilah planted. We said little because quiet can be holy when it isn't empty. For a while, I forgot the porch in the rain. I forgot people like you. Or maybe I didn't forget. I just built something louder. Then the text came like a ghost that learned how to use emojis. Hey, it's Cole. Heard your business is doing great. We should reconnect. Mom and Dad want to visit. The word reconnect tasted like rust, but I said yes because I wanted to believe in rehabilitation, even if all the signs said don't. They arrived with store-bought pastries and real estate eyes, touring my home like it had an asking price. Marcia said, "For someone with no husband and no children, this place is a lot." Gerald cleared his throat. "We could help. Move in, share the space. Your mother and I would take the master. Cole can use your office." I set down my fork and felt the old ache put on new armor. "You can't be serious." Cole leaned back. "We're family, Ava. You owe us." There it was, the bill they'd been tabulating since I was born. "Like the night I begged for help and you shut the door?" I asked. Gerald said, "That was different." No, it wasn't. I asked them to leave. They left with stiff shoulders and a promise in Gerald's eyes that felt like weather changing. Transition time? Remember the storm-soaked porch? It was coming back, but louder. Stay with me. And if you haven't yet, hit like so. This story reaches the ones who need a map out. 3 weeks later, Ryan and I drove to a design conference in Chicago. On the second morning, my phone buzzed. "Ava," Margaret's voice cracked. "I saw people at your place. They're carrying boxes." I opened my doorbell app. There he was, Gerald, prying the back door with a crowbar. Marcia slipped in behind him, clutching a box labeled Master Bedroom. Cole hauled suitcases like he was checking into a hotel. If you felt your stomach flip, you're human. If you felt anger, hold it for me. I called Cole. "What are you doing?" He didn't hesitate. "We're moving in. It's a family home. You're alone. No husband, no kids. You don't need all that space." I heard it, the entitlement, well-fed and shameless. "You broke in?" I said. Cole's voice went icy. "We have every right. Try to stop us, and we'll contest Grandma's will." That line is a villain's calling card. We drove 4 hours straight, words thin and mean with fear. The driveway told the story before the door did. Their cars, my curtains closed, lights burning like a dare. Inside, they had replaced my photos with theirs. My clothes were boxed. My office smelled like someone else's future. Gerald stepped from the hallway, face smooth as a pond. "You weren't supposed to be back yet," he said. "It's done." Here's where trauma could have grabbed the wheel and swerved me into begging. New me didn't beg. I looked at him, felt my pulse do a slow, steady drum, and reached for my phone. "One call," I said. "That's all it takes." I dialed 911, calm voice, full sentences. "My family broke into my home. I have video proof." 20 minutes later, red and blue smeared the wet street. 2 officers stepped in. Gerald leaned forward like he was greeting a neighbor. "This is a misunderstanding. We're her family." I pressed play on the Ring footage. Crowbar, latch breaking, box labeled Master Bedroom. If you've ever watched your own evidence save you, you know that full body exhale. The officers' faces shifted. "You have 30 minutes to pack your things," one said, flat and final. "If you're not gone by then, you'll be arrested for breaking and entering." Marcia's eyes filled on cue. "We have nowhere to go." A month earlier, I might have broken. But compassion and boundaries are not enemies. They're twins who require equal feeding. "That's not my problem," I said level. Cole muttered a string of curses, some about me, some about the officers, all about losing. Gerald whispered, not quite under his breath, "We built this family." I let the sentence hang. Then I watched them pack. If you've ever needed permission to enforce a boundary, this is it. Like, comment your line in the sand. Share this with someone whose house, literal or metaphorical, keeps getting invaded because family. They scrambled, argued, bumped into each other, stuffed framed photos into trash bags. The house exhaled with every item that left. Rain tapped the roof like a metronome, patient and steady. When the last box hit the porch, an officer handed me a report number. "You did the right thing, ma'am." I locked the door behind them and leaned my head against the wood. It felt solid, like it knew my name. The fallout wasn't fireworks, it was filings. The prosecutor reviewed the footage. Gerald and Cole were charged with breaking and entering and criminal trespass. They pled guilty, took suspended sentences and probation. A restraining order set a 500-foot perimeter around my life. Justice didn't roar, it whispered. But whispers can move mountains if you stack them. Law, boundary, consequence. My therapist, yes, I finally got one, said something I keep on a sticky note. What you protect teaches people how to treat you. I protected my home. The garden bloomed that spring like it understood restraint and reward. I built a swing under Delilah's oak tree and sat there at dusk, listening to a kind of quiet that doesn't worry it will be taken. Months later, my phone lit with an unknown number. "Ava," Marcia's voice trembled. "I heard you got married and that you're expecting. I just wanted to say I'm proud of you." I let the silence do what it does, show the truth. "Thank you," I said, "because grace is free and boundaries are paid up." I hung up and watched the last light fold behind the trees. The same rain that once soaked me on a porch now fed the roots under my feet. If you made it this far, you're my people. Tell me in the comments, if it was you, if they showed up with boxes labeled master bedroom, what would you do like this so it finds the next Ava? Share it with someone who needs proof that family isn't a hall pass to your front door. Subscribe if you want the next chapter. How to document, how to file, how to win without screaming. And to anyone standing on a porch in the rain right now, check your pockets. You might already be holding the key. I wish I could tell you the story ended with a trumpet blast, a courtroom clap, a cinematic hug. It didn't. It ended with keys in my palm, a door that finally stayed locked, and a quiet that didn't feel like punishment anymore. These days I make coffee, water the rosemary by the kitchen window, and hear the house breathe the way a safe person breathes. Slow, steady, unafraid. Ryan reads on the couch. I answer client emails. The swing under Delilah's oak clicks in the wind like a metronome for a calmer life. It's ordinary. And that ordinary feels like a miracle I had to fight for. Do I still replay it? Yeah, sometimes at 2 a.m. I hear my father's line, "You're alone. No husband, no kids, we're taking the house." And my chest tightens the way a seatbelt locks right before impact. Trauma keeps receipts. But here's a new truth I'm learning to say out loud. Boundaries are not cruelty, they're continuity. The day I called 911, I was not betraying my family. I was honoring the part of me that survived them. So let me ask you directly, because I want your honest take. Am I in the wrong? Was I wrong to show the footage, to press charges, to say, "That's not my problem," when they cried on my doorstep? Or was I finally behaving like a grown woman who refuses to be burglarized by the word family? Tell me in the comments. I'm not fishing for praise, I'm collecting perspectives. Someone out there is where I was, soaked on a porch, and your answer might be their map. What I learned. Love without consent is control. Compassion without boundaries is self-betrayal. Documentation is not drama, it's protection. The law is a tool. Use it before you need it. If any of this helped, do me and the next Ava a favor. Like this so it reaches someone who's still whispering. Maybe they'll change. Comment with the line you're drawing this year. Share it with the friend who keeps forgiving a locked door. And subscribe if you want the practical next steps. How I archived evidence, filed orders, and rebuilt a life without losing my voice. Final thought. The night they shut me out in the rain, I thought I was disposable. Turns out, I was durable. And if you're hearing this with your own heart racing, maybe you're not breaking. Maybe you're finally setting.